So I'm at the CBSE website, cbseacademic.nic.in. Sample papers have been released yesterday, and all the sample papers along with the marking scheme are available here on this website. So it's a good idea to go through this because there is a lot of change that has been introduced and little surprising considering that it's a COVID year. Lots of classes have been lost, but in spite of that, the pattern has changed and we have no choice but to study this. So I'm here to especially tell you the difference between the maths basic and standard paper and what changes has been observed this particular year as compared to the previous years. This is the marking scheme and this is the question paper. So let me take out the maths basic paper. Okay, so this is our sample question paper released yesterday by the board. The maximum marks remain same 80 and the duration is also same 3 hours. But what is interesting about this is that it has been divided into two parts now, A and B. Part A is totally objective. Okay, so part A, and they've increased the weightage of the objective. Earlier it was 20 marks. Now they have increased the weightage of those questions from 20 to 32 marks, which is quite a lot. Because if you it's an objective, it's either you get the answer right or it is wrong. So it is very important that we get this part A correct. So 48 marks is our subjective. So let's go through the basic paper first. This is a basic paper as I study this. And if you look through the questions, they are very, very basic questions. Express 156 as a product of prime, write a quadratic polynomial, sum of whose zeros is 2 and product is -8. So these are all very direct questions. So these questions are very direct and internal choices are provided here. In section 1 itself has 16 questions and internal choice is provided in 5 questions, which is quite a lot. So out of 16, there's 5. And section 2 has got 4 case studies. Now, this is something new. I'll be explaining this in detail. Now, this is our first part. See, there is a choice here. You can do one of these. These are all one line or one word answers. Directly write the answer and you get the marks. Okay, no need of elaborate working or show these steps. So these are very, very simple sums. If a person is preparing the NCERT, it's good enough. He will be able to do all these questions very easily. These are directly lifted from the NCERT. So the good news for those who have opted for the basic paper in maths is that textbook is more than sufficient for you to score about 90%. So if you're doing the textbook thoroughly, that's enough. In fact, most of the questions are straight away lifted. Even the numbers are not changed. So these are all questions which are directly lifted from the textbook, right? So these 16 questions are very, very scoring. Now, this is what has changed in this year's paper. That is our section 2. This is case studies. This is a very surprising element that has been added this time. We were not expecting any major changes like this because there's hardly any time for the students to practice. But at the same time, if you consider the questions, it's called case study, but as far as the basic paper is concerned, it's very, very simple questions. And that also they have given choices. They have given 5 parts out of which we have to answer 4. And they're all 1 mark questions. So if you take this, there's a paragraph written about the Red Fort, about the 2 pillars which are cylindrical in shape, and there are 2 domes at the corners, etc., which are hemispherical. Then there are 7 smaller. They describe this picture totally. And then there are a few questions based on that, which you can be easily done if you know the formula. So how much cloth material will be required to cover 2 big domes? Now they've given you the shape of the dome. That's what you have to read. What is the shape of the dome that has been mentioned here? Is it cylindrical? Is it hemispherical? What is that shows your comprehension ability. So you'll have to read through that. So pillars are cylindrical in shape and the 2 domes are hemispherical. So that's where you understand it's hemisphere. So what we need to do is apply the formula for the area of the hemisphere, right? So that's what, and choices are given. So when you work out, it has to match with that. So then there's a direct, what is the formula to find volume of a cylindrical pillar? So if you know the formula, you get the marks. Then you have to find the lateral surface area. Then all these are very direct question, volumes. So nothing to worry as far as the case studies are concerned. It's a little hyped up. This is also a question directly lifted from the textbook. Although if you see this, the figure is given here and you can directly answer this if you know the formulae, and this is based on coordinate geometry. So then there's another question based on kite. You have already studied the properties of a kite. So these properties, if you know, you will be able to answer these questions. And then again, there is a question here, and this is a graphical question. You'll have to identify what is this spiral, ellipse, linear, or parabola. So you have to read through the text properly. I know what is the meaning of spiral, ellipse, linear, and parabola. In polynomials, you know that this type of curve is parabola. You'll have to read through that. And also, since you know that it is a polynomial, you will have to find how many zeros are there. That is by the intersection points. Then where is it intersecting? That will give you the zeros. So all these questions can be done. Nothing very difficult as far as the basic paper is concerned. Then part B, we come to the part B. Here we have the 2-mark questions, the 3-mark questions, and for the first time they have introduced 5-mark questions. Earlier it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have 2, 3, and 5 also. So these are the 2-mark questions. Again, nothing very difficult, all straight away lifted from the textbook. So as I said, all these are direct textbook questions. So those who are doing the questions from the textbook, do it thoroughly. This is a solved example in the textbook. These are all questions which are, this is also a solved example. Question 27, 26 is from the exercise, 29 is from the text, so 30 is from the text, 31 is a textbook question. So you will find that all these questions are textbook questions, and you will be easily able to score good marks if you are sufficiently thorough with the textbook. So nothing very difficult about the basic paper. Basic, it's true to its name. It is very, very basic. So just do your textbook thoroughly, and I'm sure you get the good marks out of it. So those who are planning to drop maths and they have opted for basic, it's good for them. And now we come to the standard paper. Now standard paper, the level is slightly higher as compared to the basic. So this video, the next part of the video is for those who have opted for the standard paper. Again, it is divided into 2 parts, section A and B. And again, the 1-mark questions, if you see, if you compare the questions, the level of difficulty is slightly higher, but not very, very tough that it's not possible to do at all. They're not simple, straightforward question, but at the same time, not very difficult that it's impossible to do. So again, 1-mark questions. Okay, most of the questions are of the book type. You will be able to do these questions. Some of the questions are little application based. So you need to do questions from exemplar, do previous years questions which have come, etc. Right? So some of the questions you will feel directly from the text, and some of the questions you will find that they are little application based. So just like the basic paper, it is not straight away lifted. So you will have to do a little bit of application, do extra questions besides the text. If you look at the case studies also, as compared to the basic paper, the case studies are of slightly difficult level. So if you look at the case studies, the format is same. Again, they have given 4 questions with 5 choices, and you have to, out of the 5 they have given, you will have to attempt any 4. So these are the questions. You will have to go through this. Again, you will have to just go through the questions, and if your concepts are right, you should be able to do it. Only we'll have to practice more and more questions. So about the case studies, because here the format is slightly different, that's all. So it could be based on application, trigonometry, surface area, volume, or different concepts should be very, very clear. So this is about the case study. Okay, different case studies on different topics. So the mean and the questions are more or less okay, but not as simple as the basic one. So a little more practice will be required by the students who have taken up standard. Okay, then we come to part B. Again, we have the 2-mark questions. After the 2-mark questions, you will have the 3-mark questions here. And after the 3-mark questions, the major change, as I told you, is the 5-mark questions. So this is what has dramatically changed. If you see in the paper, if you ask me, the major change is, of course, the case studies and the introduction of the 5-mark. So 32 marks is objective or one mark questions, you can say, and 48 is detailed. So this is the format they have given. The first 20 questions, including the case studies with the subparts, is having the 32 marks, 16 marks, 1-mark question direct, and 16 of case studies. So that's 32. Then 21 to 26, that is here the 6 questions here of 2 marks, that is 12 marks here. And then 27 to 33 are 3 marks, and 34, 35, 36, the 3 questions of 5 marks. This is very crucial, because this, you don't know these 5 marks means you're going to lose that. And in the 5-mark questions, if you see, if you are going to leave out, it's going to be a big loss for the students. But fortunately for you, you know that there is a choice here, but there is no choice in this. So it's students who are taking standard need to prepare all the topics very thoroughly, and especially the word problems and in application of trigonometry, all these questions or statistics, everything has to be, because this is going to be a major chunk, 5 marks. So it can, you know, if you leave out that, then there could be a problem in getting high scores. Otherwise, the other major change, as I told you, is the case studies. And hopefully in another 10-15 days, some more questions a question bank can be given, where you will be able to practice more of such type of questions. So till then, my suggestion is do the textbook, do exemplar, and try to, you know, pick up questions which have come in the past 10 years, so that you can be confident of the question paper that is going to come in 2021.